So I know this seminar is primarily targeted towards the plumbers and the Plumbing Association, but I think it's very important to get a message out there to you guys that we can do more things other than just pipes, all right? Oftentimes you go on a project site and you may encounter some other things that you can supply to make some additional margins or markup on your project. We can assist you with that, all right? So I'll start the presentation by talking about, all right, so this is the agenda for my quick chat with you. I promise I won't be long. I know everyone's hungry, all right? So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to the Integrated Solutions Department. I'll outline why PVC. I know that's the preferred material locally with the Plumbing Association, with the plumbers, sorry. This is what you have most access to. I'll touch a bit about the best practices for the installation of gasketed joints, PVC pipe bell direction, why it matters, or does it matter? The right pipes for the right application. I'll discuss pressure ratings and their implications on pipe performance. I'll also speak about the future of the industry from our standpoint, and I'll open up the floor to any questions and answers. Any questions, and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. All right? So the Integrated Solutions Department, as you would have seen in the video, we have many different lines that we manufacture. So electrical materials, plumbing materials, lighting fixtures. So what my department is responsible for is the tying in of all of these manufactured inputs and packaging it to contractors, plumbers, utilities, locally as well as regionally. All right, so in that regard, we work very closely with the Plumbing Association of Trinidad and Tobago as a key stakeholder. You know, we rely on them to get feedback and rely on all of you to get feedback from the market in terms of what you would like to see, you know, some of the areas that we can work on and so on, all right? We also supply technical assistance as well as materials for projects utilizing goods that we manufacture as well as we distribute. So as you would have seen in the video, we have partnered with a number of globally recognized manufacturers such as G, DAB for pumps. We now represent Saint-Gobain for the entire Caribbean. We do mechanical couplings. We do brass fittings, Cambridge Brass, AY McDonald, Waterfit. All right. So our position in the market, yes, we would like to supply you guys materials. We'd also like to act as a resource for plumbers as well as contractors. All right. We're committed to working with the key stakeholders, the Bureau of Standards, the Plumbing Association, the Fire Services Association, and regional and local contractors. So why PVC? All right. It's a material that you use all the time. So at least we should have a clear understanding as to why we're using PVC in the local market. All right. So one of the key issues or the key advantages of PVC would be its corrosion resistance, all right? I'm sure some of you would have seen this sort of pipe or pipes that look very similar to this when you dig up old mains, all right? PVC is invulnerable to underground external corrosion as well as internal pipe corrosion, all right? System design and installation is simplified with a single wall durable pipe material. PVC pipe is resistant to virtually all the chemicals found in domestic and industrial wastewater. So even though it's resistant to virtually all the chemicals found in domestic and industrial wastewater, we also need to be cognizant of the fact that, you know, it's designed for domestic and industrial wastewater. We've had people come to us and say, all right, look, we want to use this to transport like gas or some very special chemical that's very abrasive, that's heated. It's not going to work. You know, it's not designed for that. All right. PVC pipe is very highly resistant to erosion or abrasion wear. All right. It can handle external loads very well. All right. It's very strong. So you see this guy here balancing on some PVC pipes. So with PVC, you can the strength of the pipe can easily handle the burial depths that we encounter in Trinidad. All right. So based on tests and based on our own research, we can handle up to about 40 meters of ground cover. All right. We have different ratings, as we would get into a little bit later, outlining what pressures the pipe can accommodate, all right? So you have different ratings for different applications, just like anything else, all right? So PVC pipe delivers water as clean and pure as it receives. So if the source is good from water, then the pipe on the faucet would give you good water. If they have any interference or anything in the system, then it might be a different case. But you wouldn't have a situation where you have clean water coming in and it's being tinged by any odors or anything coming from the pipe. So it doesn't impart any taste to the water it transports. It doesn't leach any lead or any chemical contaminants associated with some of the other piping solutions. All right, and it doesn't react with even the most aggressive water. So tuberculation, as we would have seen in maybe the second slide, would be the buildup of the deposits, sometimes iron, sometimes calcium, sometimes biofilm, on the interior of the pipe. You don't get that with PVC, all right? So this reduces pumping load, as well as it could increase the hydraulic capacity of the pipe, all right? It has a very low coefficient for surface smoothness, so you don't have to worry about over-speccing the pipe. All right, so one of the key features of PVC pipes that we manufacture for the waterworks sector would be the gasketed joints, all right? I know everyone is familiar with the solvent joint, but I want to pay particular attention to the gasketed joints because we get a lot of questions coming in from the market in terms of the best practices or how they should do it. And I know you guys, you probably have some questions. You probably could even give me some feedback, all right? I'll begin. So let me touch quickly on some of the consequences of improper assembly, all right? You have gasket roll. This is it here. You have belt split, Failure to pass acceptance testing. We've seen this happen on numerous occasions, and we often ask for plumbers and contractors to get back to us as soon as possible so that we can, render some sort of assistance and get to the root cause of the issue. Why has this gasket failed? Or why has this pipe failed? Or why are you failing a pressure test? And one of the issues that we encounter, or one of the reasons for these issues would be because the gaskets were not installed properly during installation, or some sort of over-insertion was done during installation, all right? So we want to prevent this. So the first step in terms of assembling the gasketed pipe is understanding that it's a very heavy pipe, all right? It's critical that you unload these with reasonable care. Since 2008, in the States, we've had about 9 accidents involving the large diameter pipes falling off of trucks or slipping off and damaging and killing people. About 8 or 9 incidences since 2008. All right, so it's critical that you use a forklift or even a front-end loader with a fork attachment if available. Make sure the blades are long enough to support the bundles. When unloading by hand, remove one piece at a time and block the shipment to keep pipe from rolling off the truck. All right, so just to give you guys an idea about some of the weights, if we're talking about like a 12-inch SDR 17 pipe, which is rated at 250 PSI, you definitely don't want 390 pounds falling down on you, all right? So it's critical that you give some care and consideration when the pipe is being offloaded and when it's also being stored at the site. If you're offloading the pipe and you're going to store it on the ground, it's always a good idea to do belt to spigot when you're stacking it, all right? Never stack the pipe more than 8 feet high, all right? Never stack the pipe more than 8 feet high. Anything above 8 feet, it gives a little bit more risk in terms of to passers-by, in terms of the engineers, the plumbers and so on that are on site. If the pipe, just falls apart, someone's going to get hurt. All right, so you're going to be placing the pipe and the fittings into the trench using ropes and skids, slings on the backhoe or bucket by hand. You definitely don't want to throw the pipe or fittings into the trench or allow any part of the pipe to take an unrestrained fall into the trench bottom. You are ultimately responsible for the materials that are delivered and put into the trench. You don't want to have to be on the hook with your client for a couple $1,000 because they throw a length of pipe in the ground, all right? PVC pipes can be easily cut with a power handsaw or power-driven abrasive disc. Be sure you make a square cut, all right? You want to ensure as well that you bevel the end properly, the same angle and length as provided on the factory finished pipe. We had a situation with Jamaica, maybe about 3 months or 4 months ago. The utility reached out to us after we sold them some 2-inch SDR 17 pipes, and they failed the pressure testing. It was a very big deal. I closed the contract for myself. You know, it was about, I think it's 17 miles of pipe. Very worried. We asked them, all right, if you can take a sample, send the pipe, FedEx to Trinidad. When we looked at the pipe, thankfully it wasn't ours. But what we saw when we did our investigations is that the contractor on site, the plumbing contractor, they over-beveled the pipe. It was very, very, very thin at the end, all right? And for very, maybe like 2 or 3 inches in, it wasn't anywhere close to the wall thickness that the SDR 17 pipe was supposed to be. So obviously, under any significant loads, you're gonna get failures, all right? So just be careful when you're beveling, all right? Gaskets may be supplied separately or already installed in the pipe. If you visit our website and you review our catalog, you'll be able to see that some of the pipes, the majority, all of the pressure pipes, sorry, the gaskets come pre-installed. But some of the large diameter pipes, like your 315, your 400, and your 450 mm pipes, they come with gaskets sold separately, all right? Because not everyone uses those to be joined together in a long system, all right? So if the gaskets come with the pipe, that means they're not removable. There's a special machine in the plant that's used for the application of the gaskets. So if you remove the gaskets, chances are you're gonna have a hard time getting it back in. Or number 2, it's probably not gonna fit as intended, and you wouldn't get the pressure rating that you would have paid for. So lubrication, this is very, very, very important. I've visited sites personally, and I've seen that some of the plumbers and contractors tend not to use the manufacturer recommended lubricant, or even any lubricant at all. Can I see a quick show of hands as to who would actually use lubricant, or what sort of lubricants you would use? Sorry? Yeah, it has the consistency of grease. All right. So some of the things that I've seen on site, Vaseline. You don't want to use Vaseline for lubricating pipe. All right, not this pipe at least. All right. We see squeezy. That's not something that you want to use as well. All right. The material that these gaskets are made of, over time, if they're not lubricated correctly, you can get failures, just like anything else. If you leave your shoe outside in the sun and just take in beating, and you don't care for it properly, obviously you're gonna start getting some cracks. Same thing with like a leather belt or shoe. It's not something that you want to do, all right? And as well, the lubricant is pretty cheap. You know, we have like pallets and pallets and pallets available. You know, we usually supply it at a subsidized rate. Well, yeah, each pipe manufacturer would have their own brand that they distribute, but I'd say it's maybe about $60 or $70 for a tub, and a tub will last you for a good few meters of pipe. I'll show you a picture. Yeah. So what you want to do is push a lubricated spigot end past the gasket into the bell until the insertion line on the spigot is even with the edge of the bell. It's critical, as I would have mentioned, that you not over-insert the pipe, all right? If you have trouble with the assembly, disassemble the joint and examine the gasket. If the gasket is removable, as in the case of the sewer pipes, you can check it, inspect it, and then replace. If it's not removable, you can contact us, all right? It's no problem to send one of the engineers down, let him do a site visit, let him determine the reason why the pipe is not performing as it should, or why the gasket is not holding up, all right? If non-removable gasket is damaged and you don't want to call us up, you can make a decision to cut the pipe and then use a coupling, all right? We supply the couplings as well. So cut off the bell, bevel the new edge, and use a coupling to assemble. Be sure that the gasket is properly seated and that both pipe links are in straight alignment. In terms of the joining of the pipe, this is something that we see very often as well on project sites. You definitely don't want to use a sledgehammer to try and get the spigot installed into the bell. All right, you want to treat it gently, but you want to be firm with it. All right, the bar and block method of joint assembly is what we recommend for some of the diameters, as the installer is able to feel the amount of force being used and whether the joint goes together smoothly. Large pipe, I would say maybe upwards of 10, 12 inch, you may require mechanical assistance from like the backhoe, but you need to be very, very, very careful in terms of the assembly of the gasket joints of the pipe. All right, so that basically covers the assembly of the gasket joints.